Welcome to the skating session. My name is Tony Wheeler,
And I'm Thomas Wu.
and we're here to recap the men's short program that took place last night at the 2026 Olympics. We ended up getting tickets. Thank you to another person that has essentially known who we were for a while, and we post in some of the same circles. He had bought tickets, and he said, "You know what? They're on resale. They're not selling. I'm just going to give them to you." It's just amazing what people have done. I put this sappy little message on Instagram last night about the generosity of people since we've been here and just in general since we've started this channel. So thank you for that. We ended up seeing them in short, and wow, I'm so excited that we got tickets because this was from start to finish a really amazing night of skating.
Yeah, for real. Like, I'm still kind of a bit in shock about all of it. There's just so much to gush and go on and on about. Even like skaters from like first group, second group, like just all the way through. So good. I'm
Mhm.
sure we'll get into all of
Yeah.
that. But let's just start off.
Yeah, so the standings are Ilia Malinin is in first place, no surprise really there. Yuma Kagiyama in second, Adam Siao in third. And then the final group is Daniel Grassl in fourth, Mihail Shadorov in fifth, and Junhwan Cha gets in there in sixth place. So let's start off with Ilia. Um, Great skating. I have no issue with the way he performs and like the way he performed last night. But my issue comes basically from the PCS, and this is going to be kind of a common trend, I think, throughout the whole show. Sorry to people that I think that's annoying, but there are two marks, and we have to discuss both.
Right.
PES, I think all of the jumps looked a little bit tight. Like I think, for example, the axle didn't look as great as it usually does. I think even the first quad flip, if I were under a microscope, I would probably say that needed to have a second look. I'm not even sure that it was called for review. I don't remember.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, so just everything looked a little bit tight, but I'm not gonna say like, oh, the score wasn't deserved or anything like that. I just think if you're looking at maybe the GOEs for some of the elements and you're looking at the overall PCS, I think maybe just slightly too high, and I'll get into reasons why I think other skaters should have been higher when we get to them. But he put it together. He put himself in. He's basically running the show now for the free
Yeah.
skate. It is in his control. He doesn't have to do that much. I'm sure he's going to go all out in the free skate. I thought we were going to see a quad axle in the short program. There's been a lot of back and forth. Why is it worth it? You're going to be behind potentially if you try this and you miss. He didn't go for it here. Still had the quad lutz and the quad flip. I mean, it's crazy,
Exactly.
crazy.
And I
Yeah,
think that's a smart decision. He
yeah,
already had the tech lead on the field. What's the point of adding this in the short program? It's so high risk, not enough reward considering the point differential.
hmm
You saw Roth there and, just history of what Roth Gibson said publicly about skaters. He's going to be like, no, absolutely do not do this. And
hmm
so I'm glad, even if it was in the plain technical content, he didn't do it.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to take anything away from his skate because it was really great. I
Yeah.
just think that comparatively, for there's one other skater we'll get to in a minute that I think he should be a lot closer, if not,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
straight up winning. The PCS, Ilia won the PCS on the night, and this is again, this is
Second.
oh, he was second to who?
Kagiyama.
He was still second to Shaggy? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, barely. Okay. But even so, I would say, it's too high for where it's at. I don't want to delve on it too much because it was a really good skate, and there's nothing to take away from his skating. Just
It's
it.
true, right? Like I think he's improved a lot, but he's not a 10 skater,
Mhm,
and he has a 10 here, and I
mhm,
think that's a bit excessive
yeah,
considering, you should be getting
yeah,
PPS credit for the tech content you do.
yeah,
Which again, out of this world, astounding. He's
yeah.
getting all the attention for it, exactly like he deserves. But yeah, I even felt this performance was a little cautious because he's had all this vulnerability in the team event, and so it seemed like here he was more concentrated on
Mhm,
making sure he skated
mhm,
clean,
yeah,
and he did. He did his job. He regrouped about whatever was happening in the team
yeah.
event, and so he's clearly the favorite. He has such a cushion going into this after Kagiyama's mistake, and even then, Kagiyama needed a lead in the short program to have
It
really
was
any chance.
listen. There was no chance.
Well, it's very small. I would say incredibly small.
Yuma's not going to score 220 or
No,
230 in the
no,
free skate. It's just not going to happen. So
no. It's
Ilia's
clinching
in
lined
the
up.
driver's seat. It is
Yes,
in
all it
Ilia's.
takes.
It is Ilia's title to lose. But he did give away some points. You look at the combination spin; he has a lot of zeros in there. He lost points. He lost level on the flying sit spin, and he also lost the level on the step sequence. Again, the step sequence probably goes to him being a little bit tight and cautious. I would say I agree with that. He didn't really, he's really excelling at letting loose when the jumps are done in most performances. I didn't really get it completely last night from a performance quality, and that again kind of ties into why I think the PCS was just slightly too high. I mean, it's whatever. The lead, it is his. Yuma in second, it looked like he was going to once again go into first place, and then he had the big step out, almost fell on the triple axle.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's nothing to really critique. I think this program is fun. Not the music I would ever listen to, but he makes it his, and you could tell the audience was actually really, really behind him. I think that there's a strong contingent here of people that really want to see him upset for the gold medal, and that's not
Well,
taking away from Ilia again, but I think that there's people that really
right.
just respect his
And
skating and they connect to it in a
everyone
different way.
wants to see a real competition. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone wants to see just kind of like an inevitability. And just looking at his GOE here, so high on everything.
Hmm.
Like even that first combination, he's
There should
doing.
be fives on it.
Yeah, there should
That
be
should be.
fives, and you're seeing it here. The lowest one is a 3 from the Kazakh judge, but even then, it's like averages out. It gets dropped. You're at over a 4
Yeah,
in his GOE
it
here,
should be.
as it should be, right? Same thing for the quad Sokow. Again, you can see where he's slowing it down a little bit to get more
So I don't
control.
think the plus five is. I think
Yeah.
a plus four is okay there. Yeah.
Plus 4, plus 3. I would have given it plus 3
Yeah.
myself. But, going through all this too, the step sequence, only one judge gets a plus 4. So in terms of like what it actually ends up being, he gets a perfect
Yeah.
score on the
Yeah.
step sequence,
Yeah.
totally deserved.
Hmm.
And you can see where if he landed that triple axle really well, he would be in first
Of
place.
course, he'd be in first
Yeah,
place.
because that presentation mark gets dropped. He places
Hmm.
third in presentation when he's first in composition and skating skills. So yeah, PCS would have been even higher. So
Well, I mean, he's kind of.
yeah,
It depends on how you look at it. This triple axle was kind of a big mistake. It's not a major error, which
right.
influences the PCS to be capped.
Mhm.
Some people might, in their minds, they might say, okay, I cannot give a 9.75 or a 10 for this
Exactly.
performance when it had that error. So yeah, I do. I mean, I think he would have probably been 109, 110 without the mistake, which puts him in
Mhm.
first place. But again, it's all up to Ilia and the free skate, and that's
Right.
that. And
Because
we're fingers crossed that Yuma can for once put it together
yeah,
and keep it
yeah. Because
because
Ilya's that skater to where he could be 20 points behind of the short program and still control his own destiny. It's just
that's, I
like
mean, that's
crazy.
just how
Exactly.
TES is. That's how it is.
But my surprise of the night, Adam.
You already know it's mine. I posted
Yeah.
all over social
Mhm.
media a million times. Yeah. He
So good.
Adam was when we go back to Ilia really quick just to compare and we talk about letting loose after the jumps. This is what Adam just excelled at so extraordinarily last night. It was crazy. It just from having posted on social media, even people that are watching back home in the United States, people that don't even watch skating that, on my personal account I posted Adam's program and people are saying he blew me away. He was the standout, like he shocked me. This the whole and I've gone back to this before where he uses his whole body and he just lets loose and he makes the performance unique every single time just because he's not connecting the dots from A to B to C. He's just letting it happen. And that step sequence to me should have been a straight plus five. I
Yeah.
don't care about hitting the edges, like from just a level of excitement. Remember the levels and the GOE are a separate component. You don't just get high GOE because the level's high. I would give this a straight plus five. No question in my mind. His jumps looked so much better. Both of his quads were really good. He landed the Salchow literally right in front of me. Effortless. Triple axle. Okay, this is an issue for him because he slows going into it. He goes straight up and down. He gets no coverage. He doesn't really have flow up. So
Yeah.
dock him a little bit on that. You
Can't deny.
should. You should. I mean, no, last night was not really off axis. It was okay. Like typically he's all over the place on all his jumps, but last night they all looked all right. I understand where he's losing points there. That was not off axis
It looked
at all.
bleeding
It
back
was
to
not.
me before I
I watched the
posted it.
video a million
Oh,
times.
you did from
Yes.
the live broadcast?
No, from our
Oh
vantage
yeah.
point that we were both at. Yeah. So I thought it looked okay. Like he slows going into it and he goes straight up and down. But to me, like what did he get? He got twos and threes. Yeah, maybe a little bit too high because he does really not have flow out of it. But I mean, where my issue is I think the PCS, a few of the judges did go for first place with him. I think he should be first place on this PCS on the night. I
Right.
don't think there's any.
And even then, like, okay, you want to say he's 2, whatever, but no one even goes to 2. Then it goes to 3, and then some 4s, and then a fifth place
Well,
in PCS.
we
To
also have
me,
to
I'm like,
because no, there's people watching that don't understand this. I want people to understand very clearly. Judges are not sitting there saying, I'm going to put the skater in eighth place in PCS. They're not doing that. They're assigning three scores, and whatever that calculates to, that's the placement. It is not like the 6.0 system where they can decide, I want the skater exactly in this place. So when we say they're putting them in third or fourth, they don't ideally know. They might be writing some notes to get an idea of where they're placing people, but they're just assigning these three scores. And if they don't make sense in the end, it's like, how did you get to that conclusion? And to me, I just think that it should have been Adam's night on the PCS. Now, he had a Salchow and a toe loop. So, he's running behind Ilia on the TES slightly just because of that base value. But I mean, looking comparatively to everything else, Axel, Ilia's wasn't the smoothest, so you kind of go net even on that. I think Adam should have been closer. Like, he really should have been
Right.
second place to me, and even I'm a Yuma huge fan. I think Adam should have been in second place.
Yeah, and I think it's just lowballing on the PCS that does that because that judgment does fifth place. It's all eights, and I'm
Mhm,
like, oh, presentation definitely put in the nines. Like, I'm a 9.5 for that myself. Like,
mhm.
oh, it was amazing, so good. Composition, I can see where he's dinged. It's three jump elements in a row, but like even beyond that, the choreography is so good.
Yep,
That matches the music so well.
yeah.
Maybe I see him here. Okay, third in skating skills. I get that. There's some skaters in this final group for the night that are better.
Not when you're giving Ilia the
Not when you're
higher.
right.
Yeah.
Relative to
There's
that,
other
yes,
skaters, yes,
yes.
yeah.
And then fourth, Daniel Grassl. Yeah,
Lucky. I actually had it the other way. Now I'm talking real time. I'm not looking at the protocol. I'm not looking at anything. In real time, I felt like the Lutz was under, or at least a Q. And I thought the loop, Q-ish, but maybe they'll give him it. It was actually the opposite. So they called the Let's Clean, which is baffling to me. I really should have gone back and watched the program. I have a video of my own that I could zoom in on, but I'm pretty sure it was
we
questionably rotated.
we watched the replay or the
Yeah, and
replay
it
too,
looked.
and it looked under on the replay
Yeah,
in the arena. So
yeah,
yeah, so I was like surprised by that too. So he
yeah,
probably should be maybe like in the high 80s, just considering that.
yeah.
But other than that, it was a really good skate, for him after the jumps anyway.
Yeah, no, no, I appreciate his skating a lot more than most people seem to. I mean, people say that it's all jumps, but for me, it's all about everything besides the jumps, and I think that he gives his performance a lot more than a lot of other skaters as well. So I can't really fault. He's always stuck in this just like barely getting 80s on the PCS, or I'm sorry, eights. I'm thinking about the free skate score, but barely getting eights on the PCS. That's kind of where his max seems to be no matter what he does. But I do think he gives the performance a little extra something, and it was an enjoyable performance. Just I think a little bit lucky to be in that final group, and a little bit lucky to be in fourth place. You go to fifth place, Shidorov. Now, surprisingly, he got a Q on the Lutz, which this is the story. In real time, it looked like that, but I
Yeah,
feel like him more often than a lot of other skaters, the technical panels are coming down hard on his jump rotations, and we've seen it, throughout the Grand Prix this year, and it follows through here. I don't disagree with the call at all on that. I loved the entrance into the quad toe. Just he's down on his knees, sliding around, and then he just goes straight into it. You know, I think I think he was generously scored on PCS as well. This is actually high for him. This is the better program, obviously. I think it's a good choice that he went back to it, but his free skate is just they've consistently shown all year. The judges have shown that they do not like this program. So I'm afraid that even if he skates extremely well, his PCS is going to be in the mid sevens, if that, because they've done this all year regardless
yeah.
of how
But I
he
just love that
skates.
he's getting attention from like more like not skating fandom, more mainstream media, just for the fact that it's a Dune program. So I'm like, oh, will they get the same attention tonight for like the Dune free dance? We'll see. Yeah,
A lot of people are getting attention for their programs. A
yeah,
lot. There's one thing that's kind of bothering me about this whole Olympics is that there's a lot of influencers here that know nothing about skating, and all they're doing is posting little clips of not really knowing anything, and they're trying to generate,
right.
interest. But it's like I'm not even saying for ourselves, but there's people that work very hard in the sport that were not given media credentials. They're not given a lot of stuff that they should have been given, and you're giving these people that just have like a more general audience trying to grab skating. There's people that have followed this sport for years and years and years and years, and they watch every competition down to the smallest Santa Claus Cup in December. They watch everything and they know all the skaters. So I think it's nice that it's getting attention from these big name, TikTokers and Instagrammers, but at the same time, you have to remember the people that are here for the sport all the time
Yeah.
and they put the effort in. So
It's also like front page of Reddit though too for the Dune program. So I'm like, I'm just wondering if like tonight we'll see the same with the free dance.
I'm
So maybe
sure
from the fandom, it's
it's
been such like a big program that they repeated it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then sixth place is kind of like still one of my standouts for the night. I know it's both of ours. We were both just like, wow, so good. Everyone around us, same thing. Junhwan Cha.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I get that his axle, he's cleaned it up so much. He used to stalk that thing from halfway down the ice and he just run on that forward edge and wait and wait and wait and wait and then finally go up. He's cut down the time significantly that he goes into it. It's still short. They called it a Q here. Probably agree with that. Salchow was glorious, really, really glorious. The rest of the program, extremely glorious. Step sequence got a level 3. Now, this is another case of not looking at the edges specifically and making sure he gets all 9 difficult turns or whatever you need to get to a level 4. It should be a +5 element. This
Yeah.
is just so perfect, and this is music we hear time and time and time again, and he makes this his own so incredibly. This should be the 4th place skater,
I
hands down.
I was wrong about this program choice. What I said earlier this year, no, I think Tony's totally right. Seeing this, he does make it his own, especially that step sequence, the way how it's just so outwardly like
Mhm,
dynamic, expressive,
mhm,
masterful, even too, full body movement
mhm,
all the
mhm.
way through, amazing skating skills. Just I don't know how like you're a judge and you don't put nines for presentation for this.
They have such a split opinion
Yeah,
on the PCS. Again, we're not saying that the Italian judge sat there and said, "I'm gonna give him 11th place at the end of the day," but the scores he gave with the 8s on composition and presentation, I don't understand it. This for me is across the board a 9s PCS, and
yeah.
because of that, it is very clearly to me 4th place. Um, no doubt in my mind, no doubt in my
Yeah,
mind that
it
he
should
should
be
be
high
4th.
90s. This should be a high 90s skate.
Yeah.
If with that axle were clean, right? High 90s easy.
Yeah, I mean, even with the PCS bumped up slightly, I mean, you're basically giving him 8.5 exactly. You give him another 2.5 points, then he's at, a little bit over 95, and that does put him in 4th place. Kevin Aymoz. Now, there's this little thing going around, and Thomas will tell you all about it. When I'm in the arena, I'm just gonna give the little history of this when I've been in the arena. So 2024 Skate America, I was there. Kevin did not do basically a single jump in the practices there. This was his comeback after he had taken the rest of the season off in 2024. No one really knew what he was going to do at that event. Watched him in practice. He was miserable. I'm like, I really hope he just kind of gets through something because this is going to be a disaster. He ends up having a clean short program and he has the skate of his life in the free skate. He ends up beating Ilia in that portion, wins the silver medal there. It kind of rejuvenates his career from that point because he ended up making the Grand Prix final of the year. But that was shocking to me. I never in my life thought he was going to skate like that based on what the practices were. So there's one event I was at that just insane. 2025 Worlds skates really good in both portions, finishes in 5th place, ends up with Adam earning 3 spots to Worlds for France. Just another amazing skate. We go to 2025 Skate America. Now, this was not his most ideal skate, but he ends up winning the competition. So people are telling me, you need to be in the arena because when you're in the arena, he skates really well. So we got these tickets, and then people started saying on one of the forums, they're like, okay, Kevin's going to have a good skate. And as soon as he had this skate, people are like, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for your service. So,
I literally turned to Tony and I'm like, this is so true. Like
yeah.
whenever Kevin skate, I'm like, you're here. He skated really well.
Yeah.
So let's just keep this up. Let's start a fund for Tony
Yeah.
to keep
Yeah.
following
Yeah.
Kevin to
Men's free skate. If
competitions.
anybody's there that wants to give us another set of free tickets, which would be insane.
Right,
But
right.
just saying. But 7th place. So my issue here, I'm not gonna lie, this program doesn't really hit for me as much as his previous
Right.
programs. I think I would have taken any previous short program to this one. He went back to adding Judas by Lady Gaga at the end, which I think helps a little bit. Quad toe, triple toe looked really good. Triple axle. Now, this is the tiny he missed that final group by this much. That triple axle did not have the flow out that it usually did. He's good for a +3 or a +4 on that element. Getting the +2s here was enough to get him out of the final group. And then this change camel spin that he does, I don't know what it is, but all year he's been like kind of dropping out of it early, I think, on that catch foot position. And now you see that he's getting negative GOE on this. That in itself was enough to keep him out of the final group as well because he missed that final group by 8/100ths of a point. I would have loved to see Bolero in the final group. I think that maybe the pressure's a little bit off of him anyways if he's not in the final group, we'll see, but there were little instances here where he really could have caught up. From a PCS standpoint, they have him below 9. There was one judge, Danny Delfa from Spain, that gave him a 9.75 in presentation, and I would say, 9.5, 9.75 might be fair. There's no one like him
Yeah.
that really interprets the music and gets invested in it. I think the composition is a little bit weak though, so you would balance itself there, and then I think like a 9 for skating skills is pretty fair. Every single judge had him below a 9, so interestingly, this all of this kind of combined keeps him out of the final group. But if it were me, just based on what Grassl did with his rotations and what Shidorov did as far as PCS being a little bit too high, Amos for me would be 5th place. Pretty sure I'd put him in 5th. Um, you any more thoughts on that?
No, I generally agree with all that. You see the judges too. It's like generally nobody's going wild with it. Like you're saying,
Yeah.
everyone else is like PCS right before this. Everyone's like kind of hovering around third, fourth
Mhm.
placement.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Consistency at least.
Mhm.
It's next skater where again we get back to some wild placements here. Andrew
Andrew
Torgashev
Torgashev,
is
and we've talked about this repeatedly.
yeah.
His skating skills are out of this world, and his flow and his glide, and just you. I want everyone to rewatch the short program and just watch the step sequence. It's even better in the free skate, but in the short program, you see how he can go from any turn, any kind of edge, any kind of difficult whatever, and he has this amazing speed straight
Yes.
out of whatever he's
He
doing.
knows how to take that momentum just shorten the curve and then push it forward.
Yeah.
Just really amazing.
He's
So much is
perfectly
dribbling.
placed. Yeah.
And then seeing this though, like judges giving him in the sevens for skating skills, that's just
It's insane.
insane, absurd, should not be
Insane.
happening.
7.25 from Azerbaijan in
He should
skating
be one of
skills.
the top ranked, like first, second in skating skills.
He should be up there, yeah.
4.3 nines.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how you don't do nines for
Yeah.
this composition. Sure, maybe you don't give it to him because you do program whatever presentation because he's never really like the most expressive skater with his face or
Yeah.
emotionally, but his body's always expressive. He's always such great
Yeah.
fluid movement. So I think he's undermarked here on
Yeah.
PCS.
I mean, listen, they give him 11th. When all is said and done, he ranked 11th on PCS. You have judges giving him all the way down to, it looks like,
17.
21st. 21st on the PCS, one judge.
Oh, and the skating
19th on
skill.
one,
Oh,
but like just again, this is not saying they sat there and said he should be
Right.
ranked there. And I think a lot of people do not understand that. I just want to make that clear for people
it's
that
more just like the actual absolute score itself.
Yeah.
And again, so the sevens is really what's the insanity.
Yeah. I mean, even though like the highest PCS he has on here, he has a few sixth, but other than that, you go down to like, to me, he's a clear final group PCS kind of skater. He should have PCS that is rivaling the top skaters in the world, hands down. I think his free skate is even more brilliant. I hope that they, first and foremost, I hope that he has a great skate, but I hope that they give him what he deserves, because giving him lower PCS, I mean, going back to Shidorov actually got higher PCS. To me, that's insanely criminal. And same thing with, of course, same thing with Grassl. They're all right in the same kind of within tenths of each other, but to me, you're looking at these skates, there's no way that they're comparable at all. So he would be another one that I would move up. And in all honesty, I might even put him ahead of Aymoz just because he was clean. So we might be looking at him making the final group. I don't know. Shun Sato, he had this really big high moment in the free skate and the team event, which we never really recapped. And a few people asked us if we're going to. We're going to be very busy the rest of the time in Milan, so I doubt that we're going to go back to recap that. I do think, I just want to make it clear to everybody, I do think that Japan made a case to win the gold medal there. I'm not saying, I think that there's a lot of things. I think it goes back actually to the rhythm dance for me. And I think that the Japanese team should have been in 7th place ahead of the Koreans, and that would have forced the tiebreak, which would have given Japan the gold medal. So just from that point, I think that, you make a case for Japan to win the gold medal. I don't want people to think that we don't see that. But Shun Sato, yeah, so he has this high in the team event, and then here just tentative, and you don't really see the nerves from him. Quad toe, this double kind of toe-ish thing that he's trying to do, just a total mess coming out of it. He's usually good for an easy quad triple. Just I would say there's nerves there. Triple axel also looked a little bit tight to me. And then he gets level 3 on 3 of his 4 elements. So just nicking away at his total there. You have judges that did not know what to do with him. I mean, there's ordinals from 7th all the way down to 16th. This program is choreographed by Guillaume Cizeron, if you didn't know. So it's kept from last year when Guillaume had not come back yet. I think it's really good for him. I like this program better than the short program and the free skate, sorry. But yeah, the mistakes come in and you kind of see where he's not the absolute top level. I think what he was hoping for was to just go completely rock steady like he's done most of the season, and then maybe find himself in the medals. I think he's not completely out of it yet. He's, we have 2 skaters in the top 3 that who knows what they're going to do under Olympic pressure. So I think things are still really wide open, and we'll see.
Yeah, and then in 10th you have Gogolev, and he lands both quads again. Really great job. He has a mistake on the triple axel, but considering like where he's been the past few years, even earlier this season, it's been such a step up.
Yeah.
Really impressive. He performed in the team event beyond expectation. Here, top 10 in the tour program, making that penultimate group.
Yeah.
Whereas, if we had just kind of talked about this before, I never would have put him in the penultimate group before the Olympics coming in. So
No, because looking how he was skating all year with Sadowsky going back and forth, they were not really elevating themselves to say I'm the one, and then all of a sudden in nationals he ran away with it, and he's kind of not looked back since then.
And really great job for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully he continues his momentum into the next season.
Yeah.
Right.
PCS still too high though.
I agree.
Still too high.
Even
He's
this season-
trying. I want people to know that I think personally, I think he's trying. He's giving a lot more effort to his programs, which is too high. He's not a musically inclined kind of skater, and I think Benoit Richaud has done something to pull more out of him. But again, it's just not. There's really no kind of feeling coming out of his skate to me. And I don't think that he really presents the music. I don't think he really listens to it. I would not say the composition is exceptionally good, and the skating skills are just slightly lacking too. I don't think he shows any like outstanding foundational kind of edge work or quality. Um, Kyrylo Marsak. Now this is I was kind of speechless,
Yeah.
honestly. I was so again, this is Josh Groban, and I'm like, Josh Groban, like whatever. But this program was so good. I would say probably the best jumping elements maybe of the entire night. That triple axle definitely, I mean, was outstanding. Everything kind of across the board was really smooth, really good. I did not think the judges were going to go for it like they did. I mean, they still held him down quite a bit in PCS.
Yeah.
Now, this is somebody I would have definitely higher than Gogolov, just comparatively, as far as PCS goes. But I think that he's still almost there as far as that goes. I'm not going to push him into like the mid or high eights or whatever, but I think he should have been scored a little bit higher on that.
Right.
I'm shocked that he's into that second to last group. I never
But
thought we
happy
were going to
about
see
it.
his name
Like,
there.
even
Oh
at the
my god,
dinner, yeah.
yeah.
I just love
Yeah.
the reaction, the kiss and cry too.
Oh yeah.
So
I
ecstatic.
said I said
Yeah.
he's going to be shocked when his
Mhm.
score comes up. He's going to be shocked, and I was shocked that it was even higher than that. Like I could not believe that it was that high. So really, really
Really
good
good
for
too.
him. He's another one though. They have his PCS all over the place. A lot of these judges, I think that they didn't know what to do. They have 2020, 22, 23, and then you have one judge, the
Yeah.
Korean judge, giving him eighth. So I
More
would
toward the 8 than the 22.
I would have him higher up than
Yeah.
some of these skaters that we've already talked about. I'll just put it that way. So with that said, I would have him actually probably about seventh or eighth on the night. I think that's would have been probably fair.
Putting out the top 12, you have Peter Gummenik. Then he's the neutral athlete from
Yeah.
Russia here competing. I think Tony and I disagree slightly on this. Like, I felt it's really loose. It's not the Peter Gummenik I remember from 4 years ago, where everything was so sharp and dynamic. This felt a little kind of like cautious, almost like the choreography was performed a little more lazily,
But
a
listen,
little looking down more than he normally would.
I think he was nervous for sure.
Yeah,
He hasn't competed internationally for 4 years. I think there's also another thing. 2 days before the event, the composer of his music that he had said, "I don't want Russians, like, there's essentially, you're not gonna use this music." So what does he do? To me, he gets the most generic piece of music that they can find at short notice. I'm not blaming him or his team. This is unfortunate for everybody involved. And he just kinda skates through it. It doesn't make sense to the music, and this is takes a hit on the PCS because I think he is a super expressive skater generally. I really appreciate his skating. He has the big jumps, I question the flip technique a little bit if we're gonna get into technique. I think that that's always a little bit, on Grassl levels almost. But I think he's a good performer, and I think it's just really unfortunate that he had to skate to this kind of generic whatever. Like this, he kept the same choreography, the same costume because he was all prepared to skate this program, and then you give him a different set of music that just yeah, he's there's no real interpretation to it because it's not the program that was choreo. I mean, that was intended to be skated. So I'm interested to see what he does in the free skate. I'm happy he's into that second last group because I think he can shake things up on his technical content. And I do think he is more of an artist than a lot of the skaters ahead of him again.
yeah.
So let's see what he can do in the free skate before I really judge anymore about him. But I like him. Um,
Standouts too, like after the top 12. Maxim Nomov obviously was just such a story. I think everyone's following it. You can tell like a lot of people in the Italian audience were even aware of it.
yeah.
I obviously stood and cried. You notice me. I'm gonna cry whenever there's an opportunity to. But just such a beautiful skate. And I love that he stayed too. He went to the audience. He watched all the
Yeah, we
skaters
saw him
trying to
sitting in the
improve.
audience.
I
Yeah.
love so he's a fan of the sport too. So that was like really cool. Um, and even then though, like you see some of these judges, the PCS is kind of over the place too.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. To me,
The sixes, the
six is
presentation, like
no,
no.
no. This
Yeah,
program's really good for him, but
yeah,
I would say skating skills are lacking. His speed is lacking. He has a little bit of a thump on all of his jumps, and he's a little bit rough around the edges. So I understand where it's not absolute top level, but no,
yeah.
sixes are
Some
not
of
right.
these are sixes, and I'm
That's
just
a
like,
that's a second in the skating order kind
yeah,
of thing. Yeah.
exactly.
Igadza again, really tight here. I thought he was probably going to be final group before the skate. He let things go, and then his PCS is rightfully kind of a little bit lower as well. He's not someone that's musically inclined. He's in 15th.
Another standout was Adam Hagara.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed his skate too, especially for somebody like so young coming here, withstanding that pressure,
yeah.
and especially since he has all the
He's
Korean
rock
fandom.
solid. Oh
Yeah,
my god,
really
yeah.
good.
People really like him. Really, really like him. They're looking to him to be the next big thing.
And he's improving every time we see him too. Everything
Yeah.
looks more finished, more
Ah.
refined. Like so. slight improvements all the
To
time.
me, it's very kind of paint by number still. Like it's been like that for a long time. He needs to let loose and kind of.
It's a fake it till you make it situation.
Nah, I mean he's still very young, but
Exactly.
I like him a lot, and I'm very happy for him. Dennis Vasilyev's he was another standout for me. 17th place for basically a clean skate. He had his combo or his change camel spin was the one that got ended up getting negative GOE. And then I
And then you me making
well
a
that
clean
yeah
skate
that
is such a highlight, considering there were some skaters who had some harsh words that even qualified the Olympics.
no
So the
okay
fact that he even made it to the long program, there's an image floating around now of him like when he finds out, he's like
yeah no
crying,
there's a
like
video of
scared.
it.
There's
They
a
have a
video
video,
too. Oh,
yeah,
I didn't see
yeah.
this like that's just such a great moment for him
Yeah,
too. Really happy for
I
him.
messaged him immediately after his skate. I'm like, he is somebody that will like every single post that I make on Instagram on the skating session Instagram. So as soon I recorded his entire skate because I don't know how much is gonna stay online or not. I told him I recorded it. He immediately acknowledged it. And when I found out he made the free skate, I was so excited for him. I'm happy that he's able to be there. Kalmura finishing 22nd place. You know, he's very hit or miss, and we said he's either going to be an Olympic medalist or he's going to be way down there in the standings. Unfortunately, this was not a good skate for him. He's another one though, clean free skate. He's potentially at around 200. He could do an Adam kind of climb up. I don't think to the medals, but definitely into the top 5 or 6. It's not out of the question. Even being so far behind, I think he can still make a really big move to come back up. And then Thomas Gorino Sabate. Unfortunately, he's the first unlucky non-qualifier. He got to skate minions. I recorded that entire program too. People were really into that. I think everybody knows the story by now with him. And then just Litvinsev, just unfortunate for him because I think a lot of people wanted to see his Joker program. That was a standout. I'm not saying it was a masterpiece of a program, but at Skate America, people were really into it. He had a really funky kind of skate from the start. Quad toe, he did the 3 turns to go into it, and he said nope, and then he just did a few more 3 turns, and then finally went into it. I don't think there's a question that the jump was intended watching it back. So like it was the right call to not give that a jumping block when he didn't go it for the first time.
Yeah.
But then he goes to this combo, which it's typically just a triple flip because they'll do the quad and combo. I don't know if he was just slightly off balance, but he was reaching back, he was reaching back, he was reaching back, and everyone's like groaning, like, come on, just go for the jump. Like you can hear in the audience, you see this reach back probably for a good 3 seconds, and then finally he goes for it and it's a single toe. So what does that do? That now puts him at a -5 for the element because it has to be at least a triple double. The combination has to be that. So when it's not within the required elements, you have to give it a -5. What he should have done is just kept the flip on its own. The quad toe would have been assigned the combo, and he would have at least gotten some points for doing that. But then, the rest of the program, he's level 2s. He gets a level 3 with a V, which means he didn't fulfill the whole combination. Just a mess for him. So going into the free skate, I don't know. I think again, it's Ilia's to lose. I think that Yuma can hopefully, fingers crossed, hold it together. And I hope Adam. I read a little bit about Adam dealing with self-confidence issues and self-esteem, whatever. I want him. This was prior to this event, but I want him to just have the skate because I think these 3 are the right top 3 in the world of figure skating right now. So I hope that this ends up the podium in some form. I hope Ilia pushes it as much as he can technically. Let it all go. I mean, he skates last, so he's probably going to have an idea of what he needs to do. Um, and yeah, I hope some of the other skaters move up. I hope for all of them to actually do really well. It was just such a good event from start to finish. You can't be really mad about any of it. I just wish again that PCS was used in a more
Right,
proper
right,
way.
right. We're
And
always
that's
gonna
it.
nitpick,
Yeah.
right? At the end
Yeah.
of the day, because that's what we do here. We're
Yeah.
gonna make sure that the rules are followed and explain to you why. But
Yeah.
other than that, though, it was a great night of skating. I don't think anyone should be dissatisfied at it. Like, obviously we're disagreeing with a few placements here and there, but
Yes.
I'm gonna go into the men's free program, really enjoy what happens, and I agree with you for the top 3 too. I just hopefully there's some like clean skates that get us to that top.
I want Grassl to have a skate like he did
Yeah.
at the Grand Prix final. I want him to, bring down the house at home. I think for him having that disaster at Europeans, this was probably huge for him. I want Shidorov to have the kind of skate that he had last year. I want everybody in the final group to just deliver. Junhwan, I would love for him, if anybody's going to be that surprise, I would love for him to get onto the podium. I just love his skating. I love his presence. Everything about his skating, I love. And of course, I hope for Kevin, this Bolero, it's gonna bring down the house if he's even relatively clean. So for him to move up, just everybody, I'm crossing my fingers for. Hopefully, we do get tickets to it. We will. I mean, we're gonna buy tickets. That's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. We're not gonna sit at home and watch this. But as always, thank you again. The rhythm dance comments are pretty favorable. I mean, we're very opposite of what's being said on Reddit and some of the other skating forums. And people are favorable to what we're saying, I think, and we try to keep it, non-judgmental and just focus on the skating. And we always try to point out that every single kind of criticism we have comes with evidence of what we're saying. We're not just saying it to say it. And I hope that people respect that and continue to listen for that reason. But yeah, so for now, we have the free dance tonight, which we were gifted tickets to by one of our listeners, and that's why we're here in the first place. So thank you once again for that. We will have lots of strong opinions tonight, I'm sure, because it is ice dance, and that's what people want to hear us talk about. So expect a video tomorrow. Tomorrow's an off day where there's no skating. We have tickets to the practice session, which are actually 30 euros. So we jumped on that. We'll be there, but we will have probably a very long video discussing the dance event. So for now, this is the skating session. My name is Tony Wheeler.
And I'm Thomas Fu.
Thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe to this, and subscribe, please, to my Instagram. I put up full videos of a lot of these skaters last night. So for now, thank you very much.
All right. Bye, everyone.